Hello, hello, welcome to New Gameplay Today. I'm one of your hosts, Wesley LeBlanc. We are joined by Game Informer's very own Brian Shea. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Wes. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on, and that's because we're talking about a game called Mr. Run and Jump, which you actually reviewed for us.
Yeah, it's on GameInformer.com right now if you want to read the full review, but it's basically an old school 2D platformer. This was a developer that put out an Atari 2600 homebrew game, and Atari took notice and was like, hey, do you want to make this into a fully fledged, kind of modern reimagining of this? So
Whoa,
you may
for
have
real? Damn,
yes,
I didn't know that. That's really cool.
That's why the intro starts the way it does, Wes. I know you played the beginning of the game. It actually starts as like an Atari 2600 style game, and then this character gets sucked into this kind of neon portal, and that's why it looks like kind of old school, but with all these modern visuals.
Yeah, for sure. And just a note, so if you're watching, this is some of the first levels in the game. Basically, what we have here today for you to see is I played through about the first hour, so I've got some gameplay from that, and then we're going to cut ahead later to some footage from levels further in the game that Brian played through. I played on PS4, or PS5, he played on Switch, so if there's a difference in frames and quality, it's because of that, but it seems like both platforms run this game great. I just wanted to make note of that in case you're wondering why it might look different later. But yeah, so you actually really enjoyed this game, right? You gave it what was the score again?
An 8.
Yeah, which is great. That's a great score. I am about an hour in. I think I'm going to keep playing it because I am really loving it. It kind of does that. I don't know if Celeste started this trend or popularized it or what, but the kind of mechanic where when you die in a platformer and you just instantly respawn, I love that so much because it allows you to get right back into the action, and dying doesn't feel nearly as bad when you don't have to redo so much stuff.
It was more popularized by Super Meat Boy was probably the first one that really did that.
Yeah, that's true. I actually have not played Super Meat Boy. I'm a little scared of the difficulty in that game because I've heard some things, but that's true. I forgot about that. But yeah, so what are some of the bigger highlights of this game for you?
Really, it's just kind of it's a little bit of the maddening difficulty, but also the thrill of triumph over these challenges. You can see, even in the early goings that Wes is showing right now, it's still fairly challenging. You have to have your timing down, you have to have a mastery of the mechanics down, and there's a lot of times where I was ramming my head against a challenge for a solid 10 minutes, just trying to get through this one single room, and every room is checkpointed. So if Wes were to die right here, which he might, if he were to die right here, he would just restart at the start of this room. So it's once you get through a room, you have this amazing sigh of relief, oh my God, I can't believe I finally did that. Yeah. And then it's okay, but what's next? But it's an exciting what's next, as well as one that's a little bit full of dread.
For sure, yeah. So I definitely did die a bunch. If you watch this footage, you might be like, wow, Wesley's really great. I edited a ton of deaths out because it's just not as fun to watch, but there are some instances where you can see that instant reload. But yeah, this game is hard. I was even in the first 15 minutes of playing, I was running my head up against a wall trying to solve some of the challenges. And the challenges are optional. They're definitely the hardest parts of the game. But yeah, if you are someone who's after platforming difficulty where you have to master your exact movements and landing in the exact right spot, I think this game is one you should definitely check out. How did it come about on your radar? Or sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say all the worlds are themed after different things. So they're all named after colors. And there's one that's the green world, and it's themed after a jungle. And one of the gimmicks there, because they all have the kind of distinct gimmicks and obstacles. One of those is there's a set of 2 spikes on either side, and it just looks okay, well, there's a gap right there for me to stand. And if you go in there, it's actually almost like a Venus flytrap type mechanic where a monster will jump out and grab you, and everything's a one-hit death, so it's an instant kill. But yeah, so these orbs right here that you see, the orange orb that is often found in these challenge rooms, is a way that you can progress to the final world, which is the dark world. And that's just where the most incredible challenges are at the end of the game, obviously. So and instead of like boss battles, there's actually they're called void levels, and they're basically like more difficult levels, but there's also a wall of death following you. So like you can't even like stop and pause like, all right, how do I make this next jump? You have to keep moving or else the wall will catch up with you. So that's like the culmination of each world, because you're also like, okay, well, I'm putting all of my skills that I've learned in this world and like pattern recognition. I can't talk. Sorry, I'm just waking up. So recognition. Yeah, well, you know what word I'm trying to say. Pattern recognizing, and trying to put all that together to survive the void.
Yeah, and we're gonna have some gameplay from a void here coming up very soon. But yeah, that was I'm in the second level, second world, which is right now this is the violet, but I get to the blue. And actually, let's see. I think I'm about to go right into a void stage, and you'll see what we're talking about here. But yeah, those are fun. In your review, you mentioned that they are fun, but can kind of be annoying because you have to. It's kind of like a guessing game, and you have to just remember, okay, this is where you're going to die here because you have this wall coming at you. And I definitely get that sense, but I do think the void levels are a ton of fun. You just have to be fast paced. You don't have time to think. You're just kind of like moving on muscle memory. Very, very enjoyable experience. And yeah, you can see that's what is coming my way right now.
Yeah, so you'll see that the wall is just always coming at you. Sometimes it comes at you, and like depending on the room, it'll come at you from different angles, from different speeds. Mm-hmm. This first one is kind of straightforward, where it's like always coming from left to right or from one side to the other. But like other times, it's like, all right, it's coming from top to bottom, and it's really, really fast, and it's really challenging, especially if you're going for those orbs that's in that next room or that at the end of this room, like. You got to get it and you got to go because otherwise it's going to catch up with you.
Is there any penalties associated with dying so much? I haven't noticed anything as early as I'm in the game, but I'm wondering if that's a thing later.
I don't think so. I think that it's just like you have to restart because some of the rooms get really long later on as well. So it's like there's one where I had to climb all the way to the top of this thing. And it's like, man, this is really tough to kind of not die before I reach the top. Oh, God, you're going for that one.
Yeah, I spent probably 20 minutes on that. I obviously clipped it so that you didn't have to watch that, but that was a tough one. I saw you had a clip of it as well, and I was like, oh, we went through the same struggle.
Yeah, I decided to eventually just give up on that one, I think.
Yeah, it was a tough one. So how long did it take you to beat this? I'm wondering how much of this game there is.
I mean, it was rather short. I think there's 5 worlds and then the 6th dark world. And each one, I think, has between 4 and 5 levels. So it's not super long. I want to say maybe 5-ish hours.
Okay, that's about perfect.
It's manageable and it doesn't overstay its welcome, especially for a game of this genre where it's just like, can be some super intense platforming. Oh, God. Yeah.
Wanted to show some people that it's not, not super easy. Even like this room's fun because it's like, oh, you're just jumping up, and it gets so stressful for doing the easiest things. I love a good platformer like this. Also,
it's like you have like this great repertoire of abilities too. Even though it's very straightforward as like a actual platformer, it's like there's no power ups or anything. You just have like all these abilities. Like you see, like he's rolling into a ball, which lets him go sometimes a little bit faster, and also you can lets him like duck under certain things. He can also jump higher. So like if you hold the button and like stationary and jump after that, it lets you jump a little bit higher. Or if you hold that while you're running, it'll do a long jump. You can also do like a lunge midair, which is very helpful.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really great. Like kind of a move set that you can use to attack these just absurd challenges.
Yeah, it's one of those games where you get like your repertoire of moves pretty early on. At least, I mean, like the first 45 minutes, I feel like I've got my entire set of platforming abilities. But the fun is like watching how the game like pushes those to its limits and makes you use them in ways that you hadn't thought of using them, which for me is a mark of a good platformer. I'm less interested in getting a ton of power-ups and more interested in mastering those mechanics. We've got various clips from later levels in the game that I have not yet reached, and they look impossible to me. So this is the second world, the blue world, which is kind of like industrial. What's like the main thing going on here in terms of? It looks like it's these little spinning things, right?
Yeah, the spinning things are a big part of it, and then the platforms were another part. This is the jungle level I was talking about before, where this has like some mosquitoes. This has the mosquitoes go really fast. Then there's also the broken platforms where you can only bounce on them once, and of course the predator things. This just has like kind of these like guys that go up and down. I don't know what to call them really. Like they almost look like the cacti in Mario.
Yeah, these look
like
stressful.
Yeah, this part was pretty tough. Just kind of having to go in rhythm with them, but also like the slow pace of those guys that were kind of on the ground. Yeah, those guys are difficult. The ones that kind of lunge forward at you, like you have to always be cognizant of your surroundings. And like those balls on the wall, those are like kind of time bombs. So like if you get too far behind, they'll expand and basically kill you immediately. Like you can see like the circles that are expanding right now. So I had to like really hurry. It's almost like a built-in void for this stage.
Yeah,
that was a challenging sequence as well.
Awesome. Well, that is Mr. Run and Jump. It comes out on July 25th. If you're watching this today, then you can go read Brian's review on GameInformer.com. It's coming to PS5, Xbox Series XS, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, and Atari VCS. So plenty of places to play this game. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm going to definitely stick with it. Obviously, Brian enjoyed it, beat it all the way through, and gave it an 8. But yeah, that is Mr. Run and Jump. Brian, thank you so much for joining us today.
Recognition, that's the word I was looking for. I'm going to go get a coffee.
Awesome. Bye now.